Sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. Apparently, something went down, and well, I just had to come back on it. But let me focus on this one more time, if you don't mind. I didn't get a chance to see the whole Nancy Grace thing that happened on headline news, but I know that it's been seen on YouTube, and every wrestling fan all across the world is completely outraged at the comments that Nancy Grace, and not only Nancy Grace, but Colin Cowherd, I believe that's how you're supposed to pronounce his name, Colin Cowherd. First of all, I think his last name sucks. And secondly, cowherd kind of sounds like cow herds. I see a herd of cows. Oh my God. But anyways, I didn't get a chance to see it, but I did see it on YouTube. So Diamond Dallas Page is out there, and all he wanted to do was talk about the man, the Ultimate Warrior. They wanted to focus on the man himself. That's what Diamond Dallas Page was set out to do. But he had no idea that he was going to be ripped apart. He had no idea that they were going to hit him with the drugs and hit him with the alcohol and talk about all this and everything else like that, which was totally ridiculous on Nancy Grace's part, especially when that's all the media can do. So let me get this straight. So if a famous wrestler dies, the media is going to go ahead and strike first at saying, oh my God, this guy died of a heart attack, and immediately drugs and alcohol took place. Oh wow, that's headline news to me. And that's all they want to focus on, right? The Ultimate Warrior's death, he died 54 years old. He collapsed. He hauled onto his chest, and obviously he had a heart attack. And whether drugs or alcohol took place, who knows? Because here's the thing that I find funny. When a wrestler like the Ultimate Warrior, who had not wrestled in years, he dies of a heart attack at age 54, and they immediately go ahead and start mentioning names of people that died of alcohol, of drugs and steroids, of all that particular nature. But here's what we find very, very interesting, especially to all the wrestling fans, because if you've noticed, did you notice the list of people that were on this deal of people that did drugs and alcohol, steroids, and stuff? You look at the list. I see it. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, he died of natural causes, and he died of a heart attack. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Nancy, you must have your story fucked up, because, you see, all these guys I recognize, they did steroids, they did drugs, they did this, they did that. There's this guy you got here named Owen Hart, who, let's see, did he die of steroids? Did he die of drugs? No! Owen Hart died of a freaking accident. Nancy Grace, you stupid little twat. You dumbass of a bitch of a reporter that you are. Owen Hart died of an accident. And if you want a lesson, if you want to know the story about how that happened, let me give you the story on behalf of all the wrestling fans, because it seems that you think that we don't understand about, professional wrestling, and we don't understand and intelligence and all this stuff. Let me give you a little story, a little thing that happened back in this thing called the Attitude Era, okay? This happened in May 23rd of 1999. And here's this guy, this great professional wrestler named Owen Hart, a.k.a. The Rocket, a.k.a. the King of Hearts, a.k.a. the Slammy Award winner, a.k.a. the Blue Blazer. He was set to go after the Intercontinental Championship against the Godfather. And he proceeded to do an act. What was that act? He goes on top of a ceiling and tries to do an act like the Blue Blazer. Remember that little act that Shawn Michaels did, where he comes up from there and goes all the way down? You remember that? Owen Hart did the same thing in that particular nature. But something happened. An accident took place, something went wrong, and Owen Hart fell from the ceiling, hit all the way down to the ground, smack dab, just like that. And then the hospital, they took him into the ambulance and left. And Jim Ross, one of the greatest wrestling announcers of all time, had to go on live pay-per-view television and tell the world that Owen Hart has died. So let me ask you a question, Nancy. Did he die of drugs? Did he die of steroids? Did he die of any of those causes? No. Owen Hart died because of an accident that took place in Kansas City. And I looked at that list of other wrestlers. And you know something? I started Googling a lot of things of wrestlers that died. People that died of drug overdose. And people that died of alcohol. And people that died of certain things. How is it that people, that particular wrestlers, like say Brian Pillman, or Kurt Hennig, or any of these guys, died of drug overdoses? Or others like, I believe, Macho Man and Ravishing Rick Rude died of a car accident. And others like the Ultimate Warrior and others that died of a heart attack. And then several months back, there was this great women's champion named Mae Young who died of an old age. Were steroids and drugs involved? I bet not. You know, here's the thing, Nancy. I realize that you're a reporter, and I realize that you have a job to do. But there is a petition out there for people that are that completely outraged of the things that you've said and the comments that you made, and you don't even have the common courtesy to apologize. You don't even have the common courtesy to get your story straight, because all you care about is attacking wrestlers. You attack the media. You attack certain people. Right? That's what you want to do? Attack them, attack the Warrior, attack Eddie Guerrero, attack Brian Pillman, attack Ravishing Rick Rude, attack Kurt Hennig? That's what you want to do? You want to go ahead and attack them because of drugs and alcohol and steroids and all of that particular nature? Here's the thing. I've been a professional wrestling fan for over 30 years. I've been a fan since the days of Hulkamania and the days of the Four Horsemen. I was in an era when wrestling was all about good guys and bad guys. Wrestling back then in the 80s was the hottest thing going. And then in the 90s, there was this thing called the Attitude Era. Guys like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, D-Generation X, the New Age Outlaws, they made a totally different change in the business. Where it made me see good guys and bad guys as talented wrestlers that are in there to make money and make people smile and do clever storylines and make things interesting for the fans to watch. And all of a sudden, we get wrestlers like Eddie Guerrero and wrestlers like Owen Hart and wrestlers like Brian Pillman that die of certain tragedies. But the thing is, you put Owen Hart's name on that list as if he did steroids. You put Owen Hart's name as if though he did drugs. You put Owen Hart's name as if though he was a bad person. Let me tell you something. Owen Hart is not a bad person. You have no idea the kind of person that Owen Hart really is. There's a lot of wrestling fans out there that know. Hell, even his brother, Bret the Hitman Hart, one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. I bet you $1 million he's never done drugs. And I bet you $1 million he's probably never done a steroid of any kind of that nature. But he was insulted of the comments that you made, Nancy. He and the rest of his family was very upset that you had to put Owen Hart's name in the list of those other wrestlers that have done drugs, that have done steroids, and all that particular nature. And there's a reason why all these fans want you off of the air. Because you didn't get your story straight. All the fans are upset at you because you didn't get your fucking story straight. And then there's that other moron, Colin Cowherd. I heard the comments that you were saying too, man. And let me see if I got this right. You talked about the drugs, you talked about the alcohol and everything else like that, right? And you also choose to insult the intelligence of the wrestling fans. Brilliant. Simply brilliant. Let me give you a little inside scoop on all the wrestling fans, Colin. There's a lot of wrestling fans like myself that are very smart and that are very intelligent. You see, we don't dig professional wrestling because there are guys in tights in the ring. We dig professional wrestling because they are the most entertaining performers you will ever see in this lifetime. When I was a kid, I digged Hulk Hogan because he was a larger-than-life wrestler. I digged Ric Flair because he was a larger-than-life superstar. I digged a wrestler like the Ultimate Warrior because he was a larger-than-life superhero. Those were the guys that I grew up with as a kid. When I got older, somebody tells me that wrestling was fake, and I gave up wrestling for a year. And then I got back on it and understood the business a whole lot more. And I understood it a whole lot more during the Attitude Era when Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and Triple H and others of that nature changed the business. I went from liking good guys and hating bad guys to loving the good guys and loving the bad guys and respecting the business that they do. And I'm not just a guy that digs WWE. I dig WCW. I dig ECW, TNA Wrestling, Ring of Honor, Florida Championship Wrestling, World Class Championship Wrestling, the NWA, the USWA. There's so many great wrestling organizations out there that no one has been able to look for yet. And yet all you want to do is insult the intelligence of the wrestling fans. But we, the wrestling fans, and the wrestlers, and the promoters, and everyone involved look down upon you, Colin. Because we have the intelligence to tell you that we are a whole lot smarter than you. We understand the profession that we're in. And we understand the fact that there are going to be drugs, and there are going to be alcohol and all that nature. It comes with the profession. Just like musicians, just like basketball players, just like UFC fighters, just like NFL players. You don't think any of those guys have ever done drugs in their life? The only few people I know that have never done drugs are guys like Gene Simmons and Dee Snider. Two guys that I've looked up to for years. And for them to say that they've never done drugs and they've never done alcohol, I believe them. I believe them a whole lot. But you choose to go ahead and attack us. Attack the wrestling fans because we don't know shit. We don't... What was that little comment you said? We don't get it. Well, I got news for you. We get it. And we understand. When you choose to attack the Ultimate Warrior, you attack us. When you choose to go ahead and attack the wrestler and not the man, you attack us. And there's a lot of pissed off people out there that are listening to this program right now, and I want for everyone to do me a favor. I don't care if YouTube kicks me off the fucking air. I want you to spread the word to everybody about this because we, the wrestling fans, we have a voice. And I have a voice to speak my mind on this show. I don't do this show just for the entertainment value and just to give everyone a little bit of education. I have a voice and I have this promo because I want